Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Catholic Big Brothers Big Sisters Champions for Youth virtual auction and wine tasting. My name is Trey Jarvis, and I'm super excited to be your MC tonight. Now, our program is about to begin, so we invite you to have your wine and cheese flight boxes ready to go, because you're going to need those a little bit later on when we kick off the official tasting after a few words. So let's get started. Our first speaker tonight is Catholic Big Brothers Big Sisters Board Chair, Matt Hansen.
Good afternoon. My name is Matthew Hansen, and I am the chair of Catholic Big Brothers Big Sisters of Los Angeles. Welcome to our 2020 virtual wine tasting event. We are so excited that you can join us tonight. 2020 has been a challenging year for all of us, including the families that we serve. The majority of our youth are young men and women from the African American and Hispanic communities whose families are struggling in the current economic environment. Our bigs serve as an additional resource to these families, providing mentorship to our littles both in times of prosperity and in times of economic loss. With the tremendous volunteer support of our bigs, our littles have shown that they can achieve their dreams. Our mission is to provide youth of all beliefs and backgrounds throughout the greater Los Angeles region with strong and enduring, professionally supported, one-to-one relationships that change their lives forever and for the better. Tonight, you can help us achieve this mission. Your support tonight will help us continue to provide mentorship support to our littles in this most challenging of times. We ask you tonight to support us in working with our youth facing adversity to overcome the obstacles that are in their way. Tonight you'll be inspired by the words of Father Greg Boyle, founder of HOMEBOY Industries, and Maria Salinas, president of the Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce. Both are community leaders who not only inspire us to achieve success in our community through their words, but show us how we can act to make Los Angeles the best city that it can be. They're both inspirations to our youth on how they achieve success in their lives, even when they face extreme challenges. Because we are engaging with you virtually tonight, we have a wider number of guests than usually attend our events. Some of you are current or past bigs or littles. Some of you are current and past donors, board members, or volunteers. We thank you for continuing to support us. But some of you are new to our organization. We hope that you enjoy learning about who we are and who we serve. Our under-resourced youth need your support. Please consider making a donation to us tonight, bidding on one of our amazing auction items, or becoming a big in the future. Technology is wonderful, and it allows us to see many new faces. However, I look forward to the day that we can all meet again in person, and you can see with your own eyes how your investment in our organization makes a difference in a child's life. Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Matthew Hansen y soy el presidente del Consejo de Administración de Catholic Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Los Angeles. Bienvenidos a nuestra noche de cata de vinos virtual. Estamos muy emocionados que nos pueda acompañar. El año 2020 ha sido un año increíblemente difícil para todos nosotros, incluyendo las familias que servimos. La mayoría de nuestros jóvenes son de origen hispano o africano-americano, cuyas familias están apenas sobreviviendo en el ambiente económico actual en que vivimos. Nuestros hermanos y hermanas mayores sirven como un recurso adicional para nuestros pequeños y sus familias, proveyendo mentoría a nuestros pequeños en tiempos de prosperidad y en tiempos de pérdidas económicas. Con el increíble apoyo de nuestros hermanos y hermanas mayores, nuestros pequeños demuestran día por día que pueden lograr sus sueños. Nuestra misión es proveer a la juventud, sin importar sus creencias o orígenes, por toda la región de Los Ángeles con fuerza perdurable, apoyando con una relación profesional uno por uno y que puede cambiar sus vidas por lo bien y para siempre. Esta noche, ustedes nos pueden realizar esta misión. Su apoyo nos permitirá continuar la mentoría a nuestros pequeños en estos tiempos tan difíciles. Rogamos que con su apoyo esta noche, ustedes puedan ayudar a nuestros jóvenes a superar los desafíos que están en sus caminos. Esta noche serán inspirados por las palabras del padre Greg Boyle, fundador de HOMEBOY Industries, y María Salinas, presidente de la Cámara de Comercio de Los Ángeles. Los dos son líderes en nuestra comunidad y nos inspiran a tener éxito en nuestra cada día con solo sus palabras, sino con sus hechos renacer la ciudad de Los Ángeles como una ciudad donde todos los sueños de nuestros pequeños pueden ser realizados. Son ejemplos de lo mejor que podemos ser. Con su servicio a los demás, son inspiraciones a toda nuestra comunidad, aún en los tiempos difíciles que encontramos ahora. Algunos de ustedes son hermanos y hermanas grandes actuales, o lo han sido en el pasado. Otros son voluntarios o amigos de nuestra organización. Gracias por apoyarnos esta noche y siempre. Pero para algunos de ustedes, esta noche es la primera vez que nos conozcan. Esperamos que podamos inspirarles a ayudar a nuestros pequeños. Por favor, consideren hacer un donativo esta noche, comprar un regalo en nuestra subasta o ser hermano o hermana mayor en el futuro. La tecnología es increíble. Nos permite hacer nuevos amigos esta noche, aunque no podemos físicamente estar juntos. Sin embargo, me daría mucho gusto poder conocerles en el futuro, para que puedan ver con sus propios ojos cómo su inversión en nuestra organización puede cambiar la vida de un pequeño. And now I'd like to introduce Kevin Shannon of Newmark Knight Frank, who together are among the top 2 supporters of our agency. Kevin has been on our board for over 30 years and has been a steadfast supporter of the agency, the programs that we run, the staff, and our youth. It is my great pleasure to now introduce to you Mr. Kevin Shannon. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
Hi, this is Kevin Shannon, and thank you for joining us tonight for the Champions for Youth Gala event, which we're going to do virtually tonight. I'm sorry I can't be with everybody in person to see you, but again, thank you for joining. This is an important fundraising event for the Catholic Big Brothers and Big Sisters. It's an organization that is near and dear to my heart. I joined the Catholic Big Brothers and Big Sisters board about 30 years ago, and I've had the pleasure of knowing Ken Martinet, who leads the board, for a couple of decades. Ken and his staff do a wonderful job with this organization. Today, more than ever, this organization is more critical for our clients, which are these kids. These little sisters and little brothers, 98% of them are of color, and they all come from under-resourced communities in our neighborhood here in LA. And with COVID and Black Lives Matters and everything that's going on in our, politically right now, these kids need our mentoring, and they need these matches more than ever. The things that, that besides the emotional nurturing and the academic nurturing and the 100% graduation rate that these kids enjoy from high school, during times of uncertainty, what we do is more important. And so, when I joined Newmark Knight Frank about 4.5 years ago, Newmark Knight Frank made a commitment to the Catholic Big Brothers Big Sisters. It was a 7-year pledge. We're one of the organization's top 3 donors. It would be great if your organizations can join me and help the Catholic Big Brothers and Big Sisters, because of what they accomplish is terrific. Thank you for attending, and I look forward to having some fun tonight.
Thanks, Kevin. All right, so what do you say we try some of those amazing wines? And to help guide us along this evening is Lorena Porras, owner of Poorhouse Wine Bar in Los Angeles. Hi, Lorena.
Hello. So fun to be here. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to pour wine for you. I hope you saw in the box we labeled the cups from 1 to 6. And we pour very heavy pours. As you can see, it's almost a glass of wine. So we don't expect you to drink this whole tasting in the time that we talk about it. But if you do keep up with it, there's no judgment. You're at home and it's beautiful. And so what we do is we pack these up with DTLA cheese. Lydia Clark is going to talk to you about the cheeses now.
Hello. Thank you for being here in my home, which is so wonderful. I think through these. Also, I will probably cry when I talk about these cheeses. Just know that's normal. I'm so connected to sharing their stories of cheese making, and it feels like such an honor and a privilege to be able to share them with you. So we have 4 incredible cheeses for you this evening. Starting off with Rosie's Robiola. And probably some of you have tasted some robiolas. Maybe you've even had this robiola. This is coming from North Carolina from a brother, sister, real brothers and sisters, like family, same parents, that started a creamery in North Carolina. And it has a really beautiful geotrichum rind, which is a special rind that we normally see in the Piedmont region of Italy. So just imagine ourselves on a tour of Italy, starting off this evening with that beautiful robiola. Moving on to cheese number 2 is, let's see here, we have Jake's Gouda. I mean, who doesn't love a Gouda? It's all Gouda. And this one is all Gouda. Sorry, I'm also very cheesy, which is perfect for me because I have a very cheesy life. Jake's Gouda is a wonderful aged Gouda. This will happen to be made on November 16th, 2018. So you think like 2 years ago, what were you doing? It was probably not here on a Zoom meeting. And so I think of like through all of this, like what a great way that we still get to share these amazing cheeses. And I feel also so grateful that Lorena has brought me in to her inner circle of sharing the love of cheese and wine. And one of our little mottos is like, we're saving artisan handmade cheese, one wheel, one square at a time. And so thank you for being here tonight and getting to eat this. Yes, this Jake's Gouda is so amazing. It's coming from New York from an Amish couple that started a creamery. And so we're just getting a really beautiful taste of the land. This is a raw milk cheese, which is allowing all those vitamins and nutrients to kind of stay in there. And we get that little bit of crunch to it. And you think like, what is that crunch? Is that salt? What is it? I generally like to think of it as the magic. It's where the magic lives in the cheese. But the technical term would be the tyrosine. And as a cheese ages, the cheese is getting smaller. I guess kind of like us people in height, but maybe not in width. I don't know. And this cheese, as it ages, those proteins and the aminos where it lives, they're getting smaller, and that starts to calcify, and that's where that little crunchy magic bit comes from. So that's Jake's Gouda, also brought to us by a fellow cheesemonger in New York, Ann Saxelby, and we're also celebrating. She just had a book that came out, and so we were able to get a couple of these cheeses in because we are celebrating other cheesemongers still doing great things in this very difficult time. So cheesemongers, cheesemakers, stewards of the land, all of you eating this great cheese. And now we are moving on to cheese number 3, which is Avalon. And this cheese, first of all, could probably be shocking that it is a goat cheese. And you think like, I don't know, I'm not too sure about goat milk cheeses. This has a lot of age on it. And so you can see it also has a little bit of that calcification, those like crunchy little bits. And on this, I always like to snap that where that cheese is and smell from where, yes, beautiful. Those of you showing me that, I love that. It is also so great to see all your faces. Yay. And as we snap and we smell where that cheese naturally breaks and it's kind of a little bit craggly, I like to think of it, that's where the cheese wants you to taste it. And so then taking a bite of it from there is going to taste different and smell different from the smooth part of it. Cheese is alive, and this is an aged goat milk cheese that is coming to us from Wisconsin. Katie, the cheesemaker, is a master cheesemaker. And you think like, oh, what does that mean? And in Wisconsin, making cheese is a very serious thing, not just because I'm taking this serious, but in order to become a cheesemaker in Wisconsin, you have to have a dairy science degree. And so it's years of education and understanding the milk proteins and the breakdown of how cheeses are made. And then in order to be a master cheesemaker, you have to master one specific cheese and make it for 8 years. So this is a wonderful cheese, Avalon, by master cheesemaker Katie. She's also a mother of 4. She's the lady that can do it all. And so I hope you are enjoying Avalon. And then moving to cheese number 4, unique. Another great story. I mean, I guess all cheeses of this caliber have great stories, because you think somebody, first of all, oh, I thought I was going to not have to cry. Somebody took care of the land, to be a steward of the land and take care of not just an animal, but of the land, and knowing that this is the earth and the time that we get to spend on it. And a cheesemaker cares about their animals so much. And when you care about something, what do you want to also do is you want to feed that animal and take care of its home very well. And so this is really just a beautiful story of Reggie the cheesemaker, who was also first made this cheese in Holland and was still outsourcing it because he couldn't find the exact source of sheep milk that he wanted to use to be able to make this beautiful sheep milk cheese. And so working with his local neighbors, now is able to make this cheese all here in California. And so it's creating not just export and import, it's also creating community in their own neighborhood, of supporting their local farmer. And so unique, this really beautiful, I think ending it on that little sweet note. I hope that you all get to enjoy your evening of drinking all the wines and eating all the cheeses. And if you are in downtown Los Angeles, come by, swing by, say hello, say you saw me talking gibberish and crying, and everybody will be like, oh yeah, like you were probably on a Zoom with Lydia. But come by, I'd love to see you, meet you in person. Well, at least eyes up, or this part of your face. This is sometimes what I usually look like nowadays. But thank you for being here. Thank you for having me. Lorena, thank you for including me. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, that's the beauty of cheese and Lydia, and that passion is always going through every vein in her body as she talks about her cheeses and her relationships. So we've been doing these tastings every Saturday night, and one of your board members has experienced it on a Saturday night, and then I get to do this for you all, and it's such an honor to be a part of it for you and what you all do for this organization. I just do wine, and so let's go ahead and start with the first. I'm going to talk to you about the wines from 1 through 6, and I suggest that the 1 through 4 cheeses will match those. The first cheese for the first 3 wines and vice versa. But I always recommend save a little bit of the cheese for each of the wines so you can kind of experience how they go together for all of them. The wines will get a little bit bigger and more tannic at the end, and that usually is a better match with the softer cheeses. But the fig butter, the quince, the guava, the truffle honey, all of those have moments with the cheese and with the wine, and I would suggest that you save a little bit for all of that. So let's go ahead and meet our next wine expert. This is going to be Chloe. Chloe's a wine specialist, a WSET diploma level, and she represents Folio Fine Wines. Okay, let's go to Chloe.
Hey guys, happy Saturday. It is an absolute pleasure to be here today. What a great cause and a great reason to drink some awesome wines tonight. So I'm going to start you off with the first wine of the evening. Hopefully you guys have some in your glasses ready to go. This is Chateau Peychaud Argali Rosé. This to me is a just quintessential French rosé. And I think whenever we think of rosés, for the most part, and French rosés, we think of Provence and, Cannes and kind of being kind of in the provincial area. But this rosé is actually from a region called the Languedoc. And the Languedoc is one of the oldest wine regions in France and one of the largest as well. And what makes it wonderful and why I'm so passionate about it is because you can basically find every type of wine style produced there. It's a beautifully vibrant and rich part of the country, and you have a lot of different microclimates. So some parts will be really hot, others really cool. And where this rosé is made, it's up in the northern part of the Languedoc, just outside of a little town or city called Montpellier. Why do I love it? Well, I'm a big rosé all day drinker, and I'm sure you guys are as well. I think rosé gets kind of like a cachet for just being a summer drink, for being when it's really hot outside. But actually, Rosé, I find, pairs phenomenally with different seasons. So as we're rolling into Thanksgiving and the holidays, rosé and turkey, guys, rosé and ham, always a good shout. So let's taste and get through this. So this is a blend of Grenache and Syrah predominantly, with a tiny bit of Cinsault in it. It's very light, very elegant. You're going to get notes of cranberry, some light strawberries, a little bit of kind of citrus peel as well. And think kind of wild strawberries, berries, raspberries as well. And it's a very light color. Rosés do tend to run the gamut of colors, and this is just on that slight kind of onion salmon color. And that's just due to they're only leaving it on the skins for a very small amount of time. Chateau Peychaud are very big into kind of the green future and green future of winemaking. So this is all sustainable, and they're organic vineyards as well. So absolutely love this. I call it a little porch pounder, or just a perfect tipple to start your day or your night. So we're going to roll into wine number 2 now. So wine number 2 is a beautiful white wine hailing from South Africa, from a region called Stellenbosch. And the grape is called Chenin Blanc. And when people ask me as a wine professional what some of my favorite grapes are, Chenin Blanc is always, always, always in the top 3. And I think it's a grape, particularly kind of in most wine circles, that kind of gets put on the back burner. Doesn't have the popularity of, say, a Chardonnay or a Sauvignon Blanc. But what is incredible about it is just how diverse it is. It's like a sponge. You can find Chenin Blancs that are bone dry, full of acidity and just really crisp, all the way down to a really rich, full-bodied and rounded style. Why I love this one is it sits right in the middle there. So they're doing a little blend of 50% oak and 50% stainless steel. And what that does is it brings a beautiful marriage of acidity and a little bit of austerity and steeliness mixed in with kind of your richer, rounder notes. Chenin Blanc, for me, key tasting notes are always lanolin, a little bit of beeswax, think honeysuckle, acacia, hawthorn. And then on your kind of your lighter side, some lemon peel, a little bit of lime and orange blossom. This wine is absolutely stunning. L'Avenir is the estate. So they're based in the heart of Stellenbosch. They date back to the 1600s. And their whole philosophy from that period to today has been to blend European and South African kind of culture and wine style together. Really, really beautiful. This will pair wonderfully with that ghost cheese. So please do have a moment. And again, as Lorena said, just play around with the cheese and the wine. Whenever we're eating food and drinking wine together, the food should always lift the wine up. So the wine always plays kind of like a secondary, kind of a back figure in food and wine tasting. But so the food should stay the same, but it should elevate notes in the wine, and it should always complement. So that acid will cut nicely through the fats of the cheese. So now we're going to step it up a little bit. We're going to come over to California and try a beautiful kind of rich and rounded white. So for your third white here, this is Emblem Cabernet or Emblem Chardonnay, and this comes from the Sonoma Coast, from a little area called the Petaluma Gap. And what makes the Petaluma Gap special is it literally from millions and millions of years ago, a natural wind tunnel has been carved out in the land from out from the San Pablo Bay all the way in. And what this allows is for a beautiful diurnal swing. So what does diurnal swing mean? It means in the day, beautifully warm, vibrant sunshine, which is going to ripen those grapes. And then towards the end of the afternoon and again in the early morning, you get this whipping, freezing cold wind that kind of powers through this wind tunnel, the Petaluma Gap, and cools the grapes down. So whenever we have this kind of synergy of hot and cold, the grapes are allowed to ripen, but then stop. And what that does is it just creates this like prolonged ripening and just beautiful, beautiful notes that come out in the wine, greater wine quality. This wine sees about 15 to 20% new French oak to about 80 to 85% second or third French oak. So you're going to get a little bit of that buttery tone, a little bit of kind of that richness, maybe some baking spices, but it's not going to be over the top. It's still going to allow food to shine through. And again, it's going to be in a very complementary fashion. Emblem is made by father and son team Michael Mondavi and Robert Mondavi Jr. You guys might have heard of the Mondavis before. They're a very kind of driving force of Napa Valley, a huge, important family behind California's wine region. And to them, this is their baby, their father and son project that they've been doing for about 12 years now. Also sustainable, also green and ethically approached, with a vision for winemaking in the future and keeping our earth, at the forefront of it all. So I hope you guys enjoyed all of these, the first 3 wines. I'm going to hand it back to the main event speakers, and I'll see you guys in a little bit for some reds.
Well, that sure was a lot of fun, everybody, and there is so much more to come, we promise. But first, we'd like to introduce you to our 2020 Champions for Youth. First up is Maria Salinas, CEO of the Los Angeles Area Chamber of Commerce, followed by Father Gregory Boyle, founder of HOMEBOY Industries.
Thank you. Thank you to the Catholic Big Brothers and Big Sisters for this amazing honor. I am truly humbled to be here with you this evening, if even virtually, to receive this very special recognition from your organization, one that I hold near and dear to me. Thank you to your leadership, Matt Hansen, for really taking the reins of the organization and leading it during a period of great challenge. Your work that you are doing today is essential. It's an essential need that we have in our community to make sure that we are connecting and coaching and mentoring our youth that are here in Los Angeles. In this pandemic, it has certainly shown us that we have disparities, inequalities, and so many issues that we need to address. And let's not forget that our youth are our future. They are the future leaders, and you are embracing them today. You're nurturing in them. You're investing in them. And I want to applaud you for that work that you're doing. For me, as the leader of a business organization that looks to our workforce of the future, that thinks about the investments that are being made in our educational systems and through mentoring and coaching programs, it becomes vitally important that we partner with organizations like the Catholic Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Your work is not going unnoticed. You are bridging those gaps that maybe exist within a family structure or within our educational system. You are the ones that are the real champions here. And I want to make sure that each and one of you really embraces that role that you have of leading the next generation. To the students that are on this call, the youth, you are our future, and you will never be left alone. While you might not know this, I know you have a big brother and a big sister that you can see and touch and hear from every day. There are others out there in this community that are working just as hard to ensure that you succeed, that any barriers that may exist, that any challenges that might exist in institutions, that those are being addressed so that you can succeed. Our future of this city, of this state, of this country, it relies on you. And you are here with this organization to really engage in all the great things that they have to offer. And I would say that the first thing they have to offer you is their commitment to your success. Don't let that go by the wayside. Myself, I was born and raised here in Los Angeles. My parents came from Mexico, not knowing a word of English. I started school only speaking Spanish. But yet they always taught me to stay with it, to ponte lista, mija, they would tell me. And they wanted to make sure that I got an education. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy because they didn't really understand what it meant to go to college and what it meant to apply to for financial aid and what it meant to go live away at college. So it was a learning process. It was a learning process for me, and it was a learning process for my parents as well. So when I think of today, I think if somebody like me, with the challenges that I had, was able to become the first woman and the first Latina to head up a major chamber of commerce in this country. We are one of the largest chambers organizations, definitely in the state, and even recognized nationally as one of the largest chamber of commerce organizations. In 132 years, 2 years ago, I became the first woman to lead it, the first Latina to lead the organization. And today I walk into rooms where sometimes I'm still the only woman, or sometimes I might be definitely the only Latina. But I make sure that my voice is heard, that I can represent not only the business community, but the community of Los Angeles, and the important work that we need to do to make sure that our youth succeed. Because if our businesses are to succeed and to have a good future, that means our youth need to have a successful path to enter into those jobs in the future, or to create your own business and to be the owner of your own company. Those are opportunities that are at your fingertips. And those are opportunities that people like me at the Chamber are fighting to ensure that they exist even in a post-pandemic world. Y a los papás, a todos los papás que están aquí con nosotros, qué orgullo de tener sus hijos en un programa como el Catholic Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Mis papás también, yo pienso si hubieran ellos conocido este programa, que también me tuvieran allí. Ellos no entendían mucho del colegio, de todos los procesos de aquí de los Estados Unidos. Ellos vinieron aquí de México, pero sin falta ellos siempre querían darme a mí todo lo que se podía lograr aquí en este país. La educación, estando la primeramente. Y luego cuando ya me gradué de la universidad, ellos con un orgullo muy grande. Yo también me pensé que cuando yo me estaba graduando, también mis papás. Y el logro que yo siento hoy por ser la primera mujer y primera latina en una posición con la Cámara de Comercio de Los Ángeles, es un orgullo muy grande para mí, y yo sé que también para mis papás tantos años después de mi graduación. So les doy un gran felicidades a ustedes por tener sus hijos en este programa y por todo lo que ellos van a lograr en el futuro. Thank you again to the Catholic Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Your role is so important in our community. Your role is key and it's essential. Let's just call you essential, because the future of this country lies within our youth, and you are taking them into your arms, embracing them, teaching them, coaching them, and I know you are not giving up on our youth here in Los Angeles. And for that, I think you are a champion. So thank you for recognizing me. Thank you for giving me a moment to express my gratitude to each one of you. Thank you.
And now here's Father Gregory Boyle.
Thank you very much for this incredible award. I'm so grateful to the Catholic Big Brothers and Big Sisters organization of Los Angeles. You have a special place in my heart. You know, the poet writes, "Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul, that sings the song without the words and never stops at all." What HOMEBOY Industries and the Catholic Big Brothers and Big Sisters have in common is that we want to sing the song without the words and to never stop at all. The homies at HOMEBOY Industries say that they're used to being watched, but they're not used to being seen. And so the young men and women that you encounter in the Catholic Big Brothers, Big Sisters, they're seen by you, and you kind of embody the Buddhist saying, O nobly born, remember who you really are. And you hold the mirror up to kids and they discover the truth of who they are, that they're exactly what God had in mind when God made them. And then they become that truth. And then they inhabit that truth. And nothing can stop them once they know that truth and live from that place. Many at the Catholic Brothers, Big Brothers and Big Sisters and at Homeboy Industries walk through our doors and they are barricaded behind a wall of shame and disgrace. And we both know that the only thing that can scale that wall is tenderness. Tenderness is the highest form of spiritual maturity. It's the thing that can soften the heart so that people can be open to seeing their truth. And so I'm honored to have received this award and this recognition. And after 32 years at Homeboy Industries, the Catholic Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and our organization are kind of in this together. And so may we all continue to sing the song without the words, and may we never stop at all. Thank you again, and may God bless you.
Congratulations, Father Boyle and Maria Salinas, for your well-deserved awards. Now, I'm sure you're all eager to get back into tasting some of this fantastic wine. So let's welcome back Lorena.
Hello. I would love to see if we could see everybody's glasses up here. Can we see that? Cheers. Salud to you all. I hope you are ready for the first of the reds. We have the Penrose Grenache. Did everybody pour for themselves into glassware? That's nice. It's a good spoiling of yourself, but then unfortunately you have to wash your own dishes. Sorry about that. This is a beautiful expression of the Grenache varietal that comes from the Sierra foothills. And this is a style of winemaking from, I like to call them artisanal winemakers. They don't own the vineyards, but they have a lot of care in how they are producing certain varietals, and they search their vineyards for relationships that are sourcing organically or producing their wine organically, and they make their wine with very minimal intervention. So this is native yeasts, which is an interesting way of winemaking. It makes it so that it's not necessarily the best wine you've ever had, but it's always going to be a perfect wine in what it is, in the expression of the vineyard, because all the parts of those things fit together, the grapes and the native yeast that are being produced from those vines. And so it always, for me, matches up in my palate as a perfect match of what it's supposed to be. So the strawberry notes on this is a great expression of what Grenache is. This is a neutral barrel oak, so very minimal intervention on that, and just enough to kind of give it a little bit of softness on the vanilla on that. And when you smell that, and when you look at the color of that, that's just such a beautiful color. Some of the color they had to do, because it's such a light colored red, with 50% clusters of whole cluster, and when they're fermenting, and that helps the color and a little bit more of the tannin from the skin. What else can I tell you about this? It's a husband-wife producer. Unfortunately, their vineyard relationships, a lot of them the vineyards were affected by the fires, so it'll affect their production next time in the next few years. But this is only 50 cases of this wine is made every year. So I hope you enjoy the Grenache. Yeah. And then the next wine, no need to keep up with me, but let me go ahead and tell you about the next wine. It's such a beautiful treat. This is the Montepulciano DOCG Toscana. It's the Vino Noble. It's a Sangiovese grape, and is considered a Reserva, which allows them to call that when it has to reach at least 13% alcohol, and it has an extra year of aging on that wine. It's an elegant wine. It used to be one of the most premier regions of Tuscany before Brunello, and then Chianti started taking over those reins. But if you taste this next to a Brunello, it definitely holds its own, and a beautiful representation for that wine. I'm in love with that, the Montepulciano. So I wish I could hear some questions. I hope and maybe at the end of it we could have some questions if we have time. But let me go ahead and throw it back, and we could talk some more.
Hello everyone, my name is Nate, and I've been a volunteer with Big Brothers for about 10 years, where I was matched with a little brother named Ben. We had a great match. We did a lot of fun things. We played a lot of basketball, we played disc golf, we went to batting cages, and we loved sports cars. We used to go to get basketball cards all the time, which is a lot of fun. Later on in life, we did a lot of golfing, got more older, mature and everything. I continued on. I hired him at my job. He was my night and weekend tech. And so we stayed in communication through work, and that was great. And then that was all throughout college. And once Ben graduated from college, he moved up to LA. Once he moved up to LA, didn't have as much contact, but about a couple years later, I got a call from the Big Brother organization up in LA that Ben had put me down as a reference to become a Big Brother. And that just made all the difference, that I knew that my time was well spent and that I made a difference. So he was matched with a little brother named AMEAR, and we've actually gotten together, the three of us. We used to go to some sporting events like baseball games, and I've just seen what a difference and impact he's made in AMEAR's life. So without further ado, it is an honor and a privilege to introduce to you my little brother Ben, who is the Big Brother of the Year for not only the LA County area, but for the whole state of California. So props to you, Ben. Love you. Take care.
Hi, my name is Ben, and I believe that Big Brothers Big Sisters of Los Angeles should be supported because it's a great organization to bring the youth and the mentor together to experience new opportunities, kind of learn from each other, grow from each other, and to have a good time together. So what Catholic Big Brothers Big Sisters has done to support our match between AMEAR and I is they've provided a match support specialist to answer any questions that I had, kind of make our match grow a little bit better, develop a bit more of an understanding of each other. And they've also been able to support us through various outings, Christmas party, Bowl for Kids' Sake, and Little Big Shot were a few of the opportunities that AMEAR and I attended. He graduated high school and he's been really focused on his music career. And each time that AMEAR and I have had an outing or gotten together after high school, I've seen the progression of his music and how his dedication to his craft is going to serve him well in terms of his work ethic and working towards his goal. And I think that is very positive and a great thing for me to see, that he's dedicated to something that he loves to do.
Hi, my name is AMEAR. I'm a little. I'm gonna soon one day be a big. So one of my favorite or most memorable outings with Ben, I would say, is when we went whale watching and we saw no whales, but we saw dolphins, and we saw seals, or when we went fishing. I'd say those are a good outside look at our whole trip, because our whole entire time being together, I can say that a fishing trip or like going out to go watch whales or something is a good comparison to our relationship, because it's like very patient, it's calming, there's a lot of oh wow moments, and then you don't know what to expect, just like when you're at the ocean. Sometimes it could be boring, but you have a great time. Sometimes you just have a great time, you don't want to go back to the shore. And then sometimes you just see stuff out of the ordinary, and it's cool too.
Wow, now that about sums up the relationships we build at Catholic Big Brothers Big Sisters. And that's why we're all gathered here tonight. I know you're enjoying your wine and your cheese, and we'll continue to do that. But we're here to support our bigs and our littles because now more than ever, they need us and they need you. So it's time for the Fund a Need, where we ask for your generous donations to support our programs. And for those who've attended our in-person galas in years past, it's very similar. Only difference is you will not have that bid card to wave around. We'll call out various amounts over the next 10 to 15 minutes, starting high, ending low. And when we get to a level that sounds good to you, that's comfortable, that you can afford, then simply make that pledge from your computer in front of you or on your mobile device. So let's do this. Go ahead and open up a new tab to the auction and donation site. You may already have that, but go ahead and open up that new tab if you did not already do that. CBBBS Virtual, it's a one word, cbbbsvirtual.givesmart.com. You can also text your donations now and throughout the evening to CBBBS Virtual to 76278. And you'll see this info scrolling across the bottom of the screen. If you want your name to appear now, please visit the site and register, and then select the donation button of your choice when you hear that level. You may also donate at any amount throughout the night. So we'll call some out. If that doesn't work for you, go ahead and just punch in what works for you, high or low or anything in between. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's make a big difference and go ahead and sip that wine and keep working on that cheese and bid while you do it. You'll see up in the tally, we've already got $1,050. We haven't even asked for a buck yet, right? So you guys are really cruising along and we thank you. So our first big level tonight, we're jumping right in, we're going strong. First level is $10,000. $10,000 sustains 7 little brothers, sisters matches, of course, for 1 year, and the community saves $100,000. Now, I've just gotten a notification. Now, this is pretty fantastic news. I love these bulletins. That a virtual pledge from Kevin Shannon. You've seen his video earlier for $10,000. He's jumping in there. So thank you so much, Kevin Shannon. $10,000. And there's more, all right? Go ahead and give him a virtual round of applause for this because it's huge. He's also going to match your pledges tonight up to an additional $15,000. So that's pretty fantastic. And again, thank you so much, Kevin. $10,000 from Kevin. And he'll match an additional up to $15,000 of your generous pledges tonight. So if there's anybody that wants to match that $10,000, boy, would we love to hear from you. And you may not see Kevin's donation on the screen, but we promise you it is there. All right, let's move down to another level. How about $7,500? This sustains 6 littles, brothers and sisters, of course, for 1 year. And the community, for our part, saves $75,000. $7,500, is there anybody who finds that amount appealing and can help us out with that? And by the way, like we said, as we go down these lists from 10,000 to 7,500, and then we'll wind up on 100, if you don't hear something that works, go ahead and just go off the board. Punch in what does work for you. So anybody at $7,500, we've got $1,050 right now. So we want to thank Carla and Jim Carmack, Claire Gerbach, Lyndon Knowlton, and Ellen Robinson for your generous donations. As you'll see, those donations may not be a number we called out. And they say, you know what I'd like to give? Here it is. And they send it away. And now we've got it. So we thank you all. Now, let's move on down. How about $5,000? Is there anybody out there who's enjoying some cheese and some wine who can help us out at a $5,000 level? This will sustain 4 little brother, little sister matches for 1 year. And the community saves $50,000. Now, okay, good. We've got an alert now. We've got a notification that we do have a generous donor. Actually, 2. We have 2 coming in. 2 virtual pledges of $5,000 apiece. Thank you so much, Nina and Bob Madoc and Steve Larson. That's $5,000 from each of them. That's another $10,000. You may or may not see it reflected on the screen, but do please continue to give. So again, $5,000 pledges times 2 virtual style from Nina and Bob Madoc and Steve Larson. My gosh, everybody, we are killing it. We've got $6,100 right now, and we've got Deborah Synod in the mix, so thank you. If you want to see your name, register. Go ahead, we'll get you in the scroll. All right, let's go ahead. And by the way, you may or may not know how long Catholic Big Brothers Big Sisters has been around. I know we go to the events and we see a lot of the same familiar faces, but there's a lot of new blood. And tonight, more than ever, there might be some folks that have never been to an event. For more than 95 years, Catholic Big Brothers Big Sisters has served tens of thousands of kids, all beliefs, all identities living in under-resourced communities. So we want you to know that we take care of everybody, Catholic, of course, and beyond. Every belief, every child is welcome under our roof. So let's go ahead and see if anybody wants to jump in and match one of those 5,000s. You may do that now or later. But that said, how about we move on down? We'll make it a little more cozy for you. Let's do $2,500. This pledge will sustain, two little brothers, sisters for 1 year, and the community saves $25,000. So $2,500 sustains two little brothers and sisters for 1 year, and the community saves $25,000 for your generosity. Is there anybody that can help us out there? We still have some of the folks still scrolling. We're at $7,000. We love that. We appreciate it. A lot more than we started off with. And you'll see your name scrolling through, by the way. If you've given, you'll be there. If you have not seen your name, look, we see Timothy Hansen, Joan Harper, Bob Madoc. We've got you there. Those big donations are starting to come in. Laura Murillo, Linda Knowlton, Ellen, and Deborah. So anybody else at $2,500, we'd love to hear from you. As we said earlier, as you are punching things in, if you don't hear a number that works for you, maybe it's too high or maybe it's too low, go ahead and just put something in that works for you. You can customize your donation tonight. All right, let's move on down. How about $1,000? $1,000 pledge will sustain one little brother, little sister match for 9 months, and the community saves $10,000. There's money saved by the community with all of your generous support and the work that we do. So that's a win-win. Now, anybody can jump in at $1,000, we hope, right? But if not, go ahead and punch in a number that does work for you. We're asking 1,000. That doesn't mean we expect everybody to get there, but we would like to make this point. As we ask tonight, what we want more importantly is for everybody to participate. 100% participation. If you give big, fantastic. If you give it the minimal amount, that is wonderful as well. We just want to make sure that everybody gives and participates tonight in the fundraising. We have a lot to take care of course, with the matches, and you saw the videos of Nick and AMEAR. We have 500 unpaid volunteers, all right? There's a 200% return on investment in youth mentoring. So it is worth every dollar that you contribute tonight. All right, so we left off at $1,000. Let's see if we can move on down and get a few more bids. Here we are sitting at $8,350. You can see it with me as well. All right, let's go to $500. $500 sustains one little brother, sister for 4 months, and the community saves $5,000. Is there anybody who can help us out at $500? We can see you waving around there virtually, right? You don't have your bid paddles, but we can see you working on your mobile devices or on your computer. We'll give you a moment. And again, we started at $10,000 and we got a hit right away. Then we got two at $5,000. If you want to go back to those levels and said, you know what? I wish I had given it 10 or 5. Then we'd love to have you do that. That offer does not expire. So anybody else at $500? We're at $8,350 right now from our general ask, and we appreciate every single dollar of that. We're looking to hit $50,000, and we ask a lot tonight. We do. Circumstances being what they are, every nonprofit organization has taken a major hit, and we are no exception. We have golf tournaments and galas that were not even happening. Those are big fundraisers throughout the year. So this is our moment. This is where we ask all of you to help us out. Let's move on down to our last public ask level. Now, again, when I'm finished, you still have that number. You can text away and you can text to give, even when I officially step away from this monitor tonight. Let's go to $100. This is the last level that we're going to ask you for publicly. If you haven't had a chance to give yet, this just might be your moment. Don't walk out saying, I wish I had punched it in. We'd like tonight, as we said, to be 100% participation. So everybody watching, even if that's $5 before you log off tonight, please consider doing that. So it's not what you give, it's that you're giving. So a pledge of any amount will help us help kids. So anybody at $100, do I see any more coming through? I've got Brian and Jill Smith at $1,000. We'll take that, absolutely. And we called off Cassie Reyes at $100, Ellen at $100. So you can also, folks, by the way, like we said, go back. We started off high. We're going to wind up low at $100. This is the last number we're asking for. But if you scroll through and say, I would like to give 500, just because we passed it doesn't mean you can't give that amount now. We're asking for 100, but you can give 100 or 250 or 500 or 1,000. You can even go beyond the 10,000 if you're so inclined. So go ahead and consider that. We'll go ahead and give you a few more minutes. We know some folks are trying to log on and get situated and continue the giving, but we do have some folks. Anonymous is giving us $100. If you don't want your name called out, that's all right. No problem there. We appreciate it just the same, but we'd love to give you some love. And if you need a few more minutes, here we are at $84.50. Our goal is $50,000. I'd love to see us in the next couple of minutes at least hit that $10,000 mark. We're at $84.50 right now. Does anybody want to jump on in? I know I can't see you, but you can see me, so I'm asking, please consider giving tonight. We need you more than ever. All right, we're at $84.50. I see Lori Murillo, Linda Knowlton, Bob Madoc, of course, with that generous $5,000. Anybody else at 100? This is the last level we're publicly asking for, and then we're going to move on down into the program. What do you say? Okay, $100 then. That's our last public amount. $85.50. We're going to keep on asking you to give throughout the night. As we wind it down, any final donations, we'll go ahead and count them as they come. Once I step away, remember, you can continue giving. So at this time, it looks like we're winding it down. Final donations? Do we have a few? All right, well, again, once I step away, once we start enjoying more wine and cheese, you can continue to give. You know how to do it now. So we want to thank you all for your generous support. Remember, you can still bid on our silent auction items as well. Auction closes tomorrow at 6 p.m. If you haven't already visited our site, please go to CBBBS virtual.givesmart.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I think we're going to go ahead and wrap that up. We do deserve a little more wine. You were fantastically generous, and we appreciate all of your enthusiasm and your support. So with a little more wine, let's go ahead and bring Chloe back for our last tasting.
Hey, everyone. Cheers. Moving on to our final red of the night. I hope to see some glasses swirling, some donations happening as we're going as well. So for any big, bold red wine lovers, this final red in the lineup is going to be just for you. It is Luke Red Blend. Put it up to the camera here. And Luke Red Blend comes from Columbia Valley in Washington State. And just a little bit about Washington. When most of us think of Washington, we think of Seattle, maybe the coastal bit, which is quite cold and damp and rainy. And that's the western side. But if you go over to the eastern side of the state, on the other side of the Cascade Mountains, it's actually quite a hot, dry, arid desert region. And it's perfect for growing grapes, especially kind of big, bold reds. There's lots of kind of ancient alluvial and volcanic soils there that kind of big red blends tend to thrive in. So Luke is a winery based in a little area called the Wahluke Slope. So Luke is a play off of the name Wahluke Slope, which is the AVA in the Columbia Valley. It's a husband and wife team. They're kind of Washingtonites their entire lives. They met very young, great love story, and kind of came together about 10 years ago and said, you know, we have this passion for wine. We have a passion for our region. We'd love to be able to put Washington wines on the map. And so they came up with this beautiful wine, Luke. The blend of this, guys, it's about 60% Cabernet Sauvignon. And then we've got I like to call it a beautiful big bathtub red blend. So we've got 60% Cabernet Sauvignon. We've got 20% Merlot, 16% Syrah, 3% Petit Verdot, 2% Cab Franc, and 2% Malbec. So all of my favorite reds thrown into one delicious bottle here. If you'll notice, it's very beautifully fruit driven. So you're going to get lots of blackberries, cassis, plum, some violet flower tones as well. And then this lovely, what I call kind of graphite note underneath. And for me, anytime you have a wine with kind of graphite in it, it parallels Bordeaux over in France. And actually, Washington State and Bordeaux sit on a very similar latitude line. And so you will get just climactically, even though they're a little bit different, you're going to get some similar parallels there. So I love that graphite. I think it balances out the fruitiness. And then on our oak aging, where it's a blend of American and French oak. None of that is new oak. It's all neutral or second or third time. So you're going to get a little bit of baking spice, but nothing's overpowering and over the top. The American oak is going to bring kind of vanilla, cinnamon, and a little bit of dill. And then the French oak is going to bring a little bit more of your kind of your clove and your smoke and that spice box to it. Beautiful, beautiful wine. Again, Luke, What I love about it, again, named after the Wall Slope, but also it's kind of taken on a character of its own. And in California, we know big brands like Jordan and Justin. And so Luke's a little play off of that as well. It's he's the imitation of no one. Columbia Valley, Washington wines imitate nothing but themselves. And so it's kind of a wonderful little play on bringing a terroir and the region to kind of a character that we can all identify with. So the all-American guy, beautiful wine, and again, is going to pair perfectly with cheeses and any donations coming in. So yeah, swirling away, give it a little taste and a smell. I love all those black currant notes, just really rich and vibrant and beautiful. And it's just been so fun tasting with you guys tonight. And again, as Lorena said, I wish we could do questions. I don't know if there's time at the end, but it's been a real pleasure. Drink up, enjoy the rest of all the flights you have left, and enjoy the rest of the event tonight.
Hey, how'd you all like that? Did you all like those wines? That's pretty fun. I just want to give a shout out to you all and listen. The Poorhouse will be adding a quick in your silent auction for a 2016 Caymus Special Select bottle. So I'm going to throw that in the auction for you guys, and just let them know that you're going for that bottle. But I really want to say thank you so much for the organization, the Catholic Big Brothers Big Sisters. It's an incredible honor for us to be able to participate with you and to pour for you and to cut the cheese for you. It's just been really a beautiful experience for us. On behalf of the Poorhouse staff, thank you, and you all rock. Thanks, guys.
All righty, folks. Thank you, Lorena. So that's going to conclude our program for tonight. If you would like to know more about the Poorhouse Wine Bar, and we know you do, you can visit their website at poorhousewinebar.com. House is H-A-U-S, by the way, poorhousewinebar.com. So a friendly reminder before we sign off, our silent auction will be open until 6 p.m. Sunday, tomorrow. To get into the action, you can simply log on to cbbbsvirtual.givesmart.com. Or if you want to continue using your mobile device to make a donation, please text CBBBS virtual to 76278. So that's going to do it for us, folks. Thank you for your generosity. We appreciate the giving. We know you're going to keep on doing it long through the weekend. So good luck with that. Once again, appreciate you. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.